Hi, this is Summer with Summer's Tips and Stitches, and I am going to show you how to make this Notions case. I should have had the buttons in here right away for you folks. This idea came sort of from Karen Happiness Homemade. I don't exactly remember what I think she made herself a Notions case, and then for my birthday she made me a little pouch type thing. And then I kind of combined some of those ideas and made this for myself. So I used 2 buttons, but the one I made for Gypsy Rose, I only had 1 button. And then it opens like this. And then I inserted a panel right here that I put my needles in, hook my stitch markers, but then is sewed on this side, and I tuck either floss that I use for my sewing and my bird scissors. Okay, so this is what I have. For making this pencil pouch, I took my notes for this on my tablet from Debbie, so thank you Debbie, the Canadian crocheter, because I did not make a pattern, I just made this up. So what I did initially to start this is right here I chained 23. Then, in the first stitch off of the hook, I just looked at it again to see what I do. Because essentially, I leave 1 chain for turning when I crochet, so it doesn't end up being 23 stitches. Maybe I do it wrong. It ends up being 22. So, I chained 23. And I don't crochet into this stitch right here, which I would say is the 23. I go into the 22, this one right here. So that stitch is used for turning. So I changed 23, but I have 22 single crochets across right here. Then from there, oops, wrong side, right here. Then from here, I made, after single crochet and across, I did 24 rows of half double crochet. And a half double crochet, again, just in case you're someone here that doesn't necessarily remember or know, you yarn over, you insert your hook into the stitch, you pull up a loop, and then you yarn over and you pull through 3. Now the reason I did that is because I don't necessarily like the look of rows and rows of double crochet. And as many of you know, it's hard to count rows of single crochets. So I did half double crochets. There it is. So I did 24 of those. Then when I came to here, this is a very important part. I did 1 row of double crochets, and that is right here. And then the reason I did that is because, just one moment here, I have to tell my daughter something. Okay. So this row here I did double crochets, and the reason I did that is so it could be for buttonholes, because I am closing my my case with buttons. So that would be row 25 was double crochets, and see there, you just take your button, slide it through, now you have a very nice little buttonhole. Then I did 1 more row of half double crochets. Let's get a good look on that. So that's my row of half double, row of doubles, that's my row of half double. And then I single crocheted, let's just say I ended here, I did my row of half double, I went up, I chained 1 and I single crocheted 3 in the corners, right there, and then I single crocheted all the way around, 3 in that corner, single crocheted around, 3 in that corner, single crocheted around. Now the reason you want to do 3 in the corner is because it gives it a nice rounded look. Okay, and then you get back to where you started and you just finish off. So that is how to make this side of the Notions pouch. Then what I did is I wanted mine to be a trifold, and trifolds where you fold over one side, you fold over the other. It does not perfectly line up, and that's fine with me. If you feel like you want this to be coming way over here, then you're going to have to change your row counts or whatnot, but this is how I have mine. So then I had to crochet this panel. This is a separate piece of crochet. This started with a chain of 13 right down here. Then I did half double crochet rows. But this is the key to this one, and you may or may not want to do this. I did each of my stitches in the back loop only, and that gives you this ridged look. So then when you turn it and you're always doing your half double crochets in the back loop, it gives you this look of having the raised edge, so you can slide your needles in and out of it, okay? So that's why I did that. I gave it that rippled look, the ridge look, by doing half double crochets in my back loop. And I did 16 rows. Then I did not finish off. Then after coming up here, I did not single crochet around it either. As you can see, this is my sloppy edge. So I just did the 16 rows. And then I pulled off a real long string, cut it off, threaded a needle, and just sewed it right along here. Very carefully sewed it along here because I did not want it showing through. So I tried only to get in the top, and I sewed it along here, along one edge, and then I sewed it along here, along the bottom, and then this is where I finished off. So I essentially created for myself a side pocket. Now you could, I'm sure, do this a variety of ways, because I will tell you, because I have my needles running this way, I typically open it like this, and my scissors almost always fall out. If I were to do it again, I probably would have made my center thingy, my center insert, the same. Golly, this part keeps flipping over. I probably would have made it the same going this way. And that would involve 23 chains, 22 across, again half double crochets in the back loop only, and then your ridges would be running this way, and you would tuck your needles down in there. And the reason I would do that, because then when I open it like this, I'm more likely to not have my scissors slide out all the time. And maybe it just happens because these are my bird scissors and they're heavy, or maybe because I'm just careless. But, you know, keep that in mind, whether or not you want your pocket to be a front opened or not. You could also, if you wanted, just make it this size, because I feel like this, and just, you know, pin this down here, and then open it up and have those needles in there. But yes, this is the needle case. Now, in making this, I used the Walmart Peaches and Cream, I believe it's called, cotton. I used a cotton yarn. I did not use acrylic. The one that Karen made me, my little notions pouch, that I keep in my other bag, which is upstairs, so I can't show you. That one she made with Hobby Lobbies. I love this yarn. So this one is a purple. I don't actually have the ball band, as you probably have guessed. I don't have it, so I can't tell you what colorway it is, but it's a purple variegated. It has purples and pinks. And I believe I used this exact yarn to make Gypsy Roses. And then I sewed 2 buttons, and like I said, pay attention to where you're sewing them, because this row of double crochets that you put is where you use your buttonholes. So that is the notions pouch that I made. Again, no pattern. I'm just going to real quick hold this up, and you guys can look at my chicken scratch if you would like to copy this down. So chain 23, then you're going to do, technically here, 22 single crochets across. You're going to do 24 rows of half double crochet, 1 row of double crochet, 1 row more of half double crochet. So altogether, this is 26 rows. Then after your half double crochet, you're going to do 1 single crochet, SC, all the way around your notions pouch. And then the insert consists of a chain of 13, and then you're going to half double crochet across 12 times. And remember, back loops. And there's 16 rows of that. This is a horrible looking little pattern, friends. Okay. And then, yeah, then you do your trifold. You sew in your insert. And that is my notions pouch. Okay, now I am going to tack on to the end of this a little bit of a tutorial on how to do the curlicues. And a few people have asked me. Now, I don't feel real comfortable giving a complete tutorial on how to do the Delaney hat. Just a second. I am afraid of copyright laws. There's this gal that does YouTube videos about copyright violations, and she scared me. I think it was Debbie the Canadian Crocheter watched her, and she scared me, and so now I don't know when I can or can't do a tutorial. I am not at this point crochet professional enough to make my own patterns. And that notions case is a very small circumstance. So, I don't know if Bagoday makes up all those patterns by herself. So anyway, long way of saying, I don't feel comfortable doing a Delaney tutorial. But this is what I can tell you. To make a certain hat that I talked about with the curlicues, you are going to do a long chain. Now, I don't remember the exact number. When I decided I wanted to do my chain, I just measured it on a doll's head or the child's head. I put the hat where I wanted to on the forehead, and then I crocheted up to a couple inches above. That's pretty much what I did. I want to say it was somewhere in the lines of 50, but of course that number is going to change depending on who you're making the hat for, if you're making it for an adult versus a child versus an infant. So that's where the numbers come into play. Now, after you're chaining your whole shenanigans, this specific pattern for this hat does half double crochets in the back loop only. So I always skip one when I'm coming around for single crochets and half double crochets. And that's essentially... Please cooperate with me, yarn. That's essentially what you do. You just go back and forth with the half double crochets in the back loop. So this is row 1. Okay. You did your chain of approximately 50, depending on how big you want it, which person you're putting this hat onto. And then you're half doubling crochet. Now there is folks that do they do their first row in the back hump right back here. For this particular hat, you're not going to want to do that because you need to have this other edge to sew together. Just a second while I fight with my yarn. Okay, so it was all snarled up in there. This yarn that I'm using right here, if you like the look of this, is Hobby Lobby. I love this cotton. And I believe the colorway is Fantasy, number 408. Okay, so I'm just half double crocheting all the way back up. If this is boring for you, I have such hard luck filming tutorial type videos. I wanted to get up to show you how to do the curlicues, because I use the curlicues for this particular hat, and then also for I made my unicorn sprinkles have these curlicues on her hair instead of just long strands of yarn. I'm not a fan of long strands of yarn hanging off of things, whether it be fringe or for amigurumi hair. So even when I made my dolls, I gave them curlicues. Okay, so I've just come to the very last stitch, finished off with half double crochet. Now, I'm going to make a small curlicue, but this is how I make my curlicues. And I make them a specific way, not the same way that is in this pattern. So I'm going to chain up just a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, this is how I make my curlies. I skip this one. I've got my loop on the hook. I skip that one. I go right into here and I do 3 single crochets in my first stitch. That's 2 and that's 3. Then in my next, I do 2 single crochets. 1, 2. The reason I do this is I feel like it gives it a tighter curly. Then I do 3. Woo, and you are going to find this is a tricky job, friends. These curlicues want to curl. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Get some yarn. I got a yarn barf going on over here. Did you see that? Okay, and then you just alternate as you go down your chain of 2 and 3 single crochets in each stitch. And the reason I like this alternating of 2 and 3, did you see that? It's just curling right up. It's a nice tight curl. That's 2. Now, obviously, if you want a looser one, maybe do 1 and 2 or 1 and 3. I don't know, play with it. I do 2 and 3, 2 and 3. And that is, now, I'm going to get over to here because I got something else to tell you. So that's 2 and 3. So if you would like to do a curlicue for something, this would be the something you should do it on. Or this is how you do it. And if you would like to put it on top of this hat, this is how you do it. Okay, so I just did 2 or 3 in that one. Now, this is the hard part that you all should be either counting or stitch marking, because this could cause problems. You have to see where your stitch falls. If it is, because this curlicue pulls on it, it gives it weight. See, that's what it looks like. Now, if you were going to use this on that hat pattern, this is too small of a curlicue. You're going to want to chain up to 24 at least. That's the minimum. This is a real small. You could get fancy and do like 12 and 24 and have short and smalls. You choose. But I did, for my hat, 24. This one, just for the sake of this video, is a real short curlicue. And this one's 12. But anyway, when it comes to going back down for this next row, you have to pay attention to where these stitches are, because otherwise when it comes to sewing your hat together, your stitches will be off. I do not always pay very good attention, and my last hat, the first row had like 50 stitches, and then the last row had like 56. So you're going to want to mark it every row or count very well, because it is tricky when you start putting the 3 in 1 and the curlicue starts pulling. It stretches it out, and you think that this might get 2 in 1 stitch, but it doesn't. It's part of that. So I skip that one, and I do my half double crochet in the back loop. And you go all the way down doing the half double crochets in the back loop. Okay? All right, so that is the start of how this goes. I got to pull this yarn out of this yarn barf right now. I've never had one come out so horrible. Okay, now I'm going to try to hold this back so you can see, and I'm going to point to it. Okay, so this is what I did. I chained up. You're going to want to do approximately 50 for a baby hat. And then you're going to half double crochet. Actually, it probably started here. And then half double crochet in your stitches all the way up. Then you're going to stop and you're going to chain a certain amount. That amount is up to you on how big you want your curlicue. This was only a 12 curlicue, 12 or 13 chain. You're probably going to want to double it up to a 24. Then after you've chained all the way up as far as you want, you start doing the curlicue. which is 3 double crochets in one stitch, 2 in another, 3, 2, 3, 2, all the way till you get right back to where your hat is. You're going to want to put your stitch marker right here so that you remember that this is the stitch right before you start doing your curlicues, so that when you half double crochet in the back loop only, and then you turn and do half double crochets in the back loop only up to here, when you get to this stitch, that's where you start doing your curlicue chain, anywhere from 12 to 24, again depending on how long you want your curlicues to be. And then you do your 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2 all the way back, and then you half double crochet in the back loop. Basically, friends, you do that until this hat fits, measuring up and down all the way. The circumference goes around the desired person's head. And then you sew or single crochet this side to the other side. That's all there is to it. That is what I have for you. That is a basic overview on how to make a hat with curlicues on it, and then, whoops, there goes my scissors because I put my thing the wrong way, and a basic overview on how to make this Notions pouch. Alright, friends, thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks for sharing my videos, and remember, when I hit 4,000, I will be giving away some yarn. Yeah, just 1 minute. Do you want to say something, Flynn?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Are you going to say something? Anytime now. No one?
Happy crafting.
Okay, there it is. I'm sorry you had to wait for that. Happy crafting. Bye.
Bye.